Her manicured finger jabbed 9. Then 1. Then another one. I could see the gold sheriff's badge on Deputy Martinez's belt from 15 feet away, glinting in the Montana sunset. Rebecca Morgan saw it too. She'd stared at that badge for a full 3 seconds before finishing the call. I need police at 42 Ridgeview Ranch Road immediately. Her voice climbed higher with each word. Approximately 12 armed individuals conducting coordinated tactical operations. Military boots. Weapons visible. This is not a social gathering. This is a direct threat to community safety. Ma'am, Martinez said, stepping forward with empty hands raised. I'm Deputy Angela Martinez, Flathead County Sheriff. We're all law enforcement. Off duty. Private property. This is a barbecue. Rebecca's free hand shot up like stopping traffic. Don't. She spat the word. Don't intimidate me with fake credentials. I've documented everything. The vehicles, the tactical gear, the coordination. I know exactly what I'm seeing here, Greg whispered behind me, beer frozen halfway to his mouth. Jake. She just called Martinez's badge fake. To her face, yes. Dispatch. Rebecca continued, turning her back on 12 cops like we'd already been arrested. The property owner claims they're county employees, but I have serious doubts. They're drinking alcohol while openly carrying weapons. This violates HOA Code 12. Section 4. Subsection B. I'm invoking emergency enforcement. The first siren started. Distant. Getting closer. Then another. She'd done it. Rebecca Morgan had reported an entire sheriff's barbecue as an armed threat while standing 15 feet from a deputy's badge. I took 3 steps. Rebecca. Stop. Put the phone down. Listen. She spun. And that's when I saw it. Not anger. Not fury. Pure terror. Her pupils dilated. Handshaking so hard the screen blurred. Sweat running down her temple despite cool air. This wasn't about power or HOA codes. This was a woman so desperate, so cornered. She was declaring war on law enforcement rather than let anyone look too closely at what she was hiding. Sirens louder. Martinez pulling her radio to warn dispatch. Greg moving toward Rebecca like approaching someone who might bolt, and Rebecca stood there reporting coordinates to emergency dispatch while 12 off-duty cops watched her commit spectacular self-destruction. Because whatever she was protecting was worth this insanity. They're requesting backup, she said. Voice cracking. Send additional units. Situation escalating. That's when I knew Rebecca Morgan wasn't just an HOA president drunk on authority. She'd rather burn everything down, humiliate herself countywide, risk arrest, than let anyone discover what she'd been hiding. The sirens screamed closer. Her hand shook harder. This wasn't the beginning. This was everything she'd constructed about to crash down. And she knew it. The evening had started simple. After a week of dam inspections, I'd invited my emergency response team for barbecue. My back pasture stretched golden toward the lake. Peace after hard work. I'd been discussing emergency drills with Greg and Angela when the silence hit. That sharp break where everyone feels the shift. Eyes drifted toward my gravel driveway. Rebecca Morgan, HOA president, walking toward us with a pace that could turn gravel to steam. Angela muttered, "No way she's doing this." But she was, right in my driveway. Rebecca stopped, planted feet, pointed at my barn. Her voice carried sharp and cold. Yes, 911. Armed men all over this property. Dark vehicles. Tactical gear. Formation movements like a militia. I closed my eyes. She wasn't confused. She was lying. Jake? Greg whispered. She's calling us in on us. She kept pacing. Send backup now. This looks like armed operation. I fear for entire HOA community safety. HOA community. She always used that phrase like owning the valley. I walked forward. Rebecca, slow down. She cut me a razor glance. Don't interfere. Mr. Brennan, I'm documenting threat. Documenting what Angela muttered. A barbecue. Rebecca pointed at deputies in casual clothes. Still, unmistakably officers. She didn't recognize one. You know this is my property. I said evenly. You're trespassing. I have full authority under Statute 14-B. She snapped. You're harboring armed personnel without approval. Violating safety bylaws. I blinked. Did she say I need HOA approval for county officers on my land? Greg nodded slowly. Rebecca. These aren't strangers. They're county staff. Work with Sheriff Daniels. She waved dismissively. Anyone can claim law enforcement. If they were real officers, they'd behave professionally. Not drinking beer beside a barn. Behind her. Sirens drifted. She'd placed that call. Jake. Angela said quietly. Should we call the sheriff? No. He'll find out. Rebecca kept reporting with conviction. At least 12. Dark trucks. Tactical boots. Weapons I can't identify. Greg raised his spatula. Pretty sure she means this. As we watched her pace, something struck me. Why escalate like this? She'd filed petty reports before. Dust complaints. Noise violations. Fence queries. But calling 911 on officers? That wasn't ordinary control. That was desperation. Sirens grew louder. Rebecca straightened like summoning cavalry. Finally, law and order. Deputies shifted. I kept hands on hips, jaw tight, pulse building. Because whatever reason she thought she had, Rebecca had called police on police, and this was only beginning. The responding units hadn't rolled up when my phone buzzed. Sarah Chen, my attorney. Call ASAP. HOA filed something unusual at county today. Not what I wanted with sirens screaming closer, but it fit. Every move Rebecca made for months had been tightening a noose. Sirens cut off near my gate. 2 deputies I didn't know walked toward her. They looked confused. This wasn't the scene dispatch described. No guns drawn. No suspects running. Just relaxed ranch party and one HOA president vibrating with fury. I stepped away and called Sarah. She picked up instantly. Jake, tell me you're not busy, because... Wait. Sirens. I'm dealing with a situation. Is HOA involved? A sigh. Then this fits. Jake. I checked county records. The HOA pulled parcel surveys for your sector. Maps they shouldn't need. What does that mean? They're at my gate, calling 911 on my barbecue. Silence? I'll be there tomorrow morning. Don't agree to anything. And Jake, don't let Rebecca corner you alone. Before I could respond, raised voices erupted. Rebecca wasn't happy. Good. I walked back. One deputy massaging his nose while his partner held out a stop gesture as Rebecca ranted, "I demand you remove these men. They've been drinking while armed." Violating Code 12. "Ma'am?" The deputy interrupted, "We're not here for HOA codes." "You should be. He's endangering the subdivision with these combat people." Greg coughed. "Combat people." One deputy spotted me. "Sir." Property owner, I nodded. "Jake Brennan, former hydraulic engineer. Current emergency operations coordinator. Everyone here is county staff or law enforcement. Off duty, on private land." Both deputies exchanged looks. Rebecca didn't catch the shift. She doubled down. He's lying. Harboring unauthorized personnel, creating risk conditions. Look at those trucks. They're boots. Explain why they're wearing duty belts to a party. Angela raised her soda. "We came from training." "Ma'am, that's illegal." Rebecca snapped. "Unless approved by HOA board?" One deputy rubbed his forehead. "Ma'am, nothing about law enforcement wearing equipment is illegal. This ranch is under HOA jurisdiction." She insisted. "No," I corrected. "It borders the HOA. Not within your authority." Her eyes twitched. She hated when I was right. "It's adjacent." She insisted. Meaning, safety standards extend. "No." "Rebecca, it means you've been overstepping." Her jaw moved, but no sound came. She looked rattled before rallying. "I submitted violation notice 2 days ago. You haven't responded." Greg snorted. He was supposed to respond about dust on a gravel road. Rebecca slapped her clipboard. "Dust affects visibility and respiratory health. And barn color. And livestock noise." The deputy cut her off. "Ma'am, we'll file report stating no threat. This was misuse of emergency services. Don't call 911 unless actual crime occurs." Color rose in her cheeks. "This is not over." She hissed, "You can pretend, Jake, but I know what's happening. The board knows too. Then you should brush up on Montana property law." I replied. Her grip tightened on clipboard for a moment. I thought she'd hit me. Instead, she spun, marched to her silver SUV, peeled out so fast she fishtailed. Dust followed her to the road. Ironically, when everything settled, deputies apologized and left. The yard returned to conversation, but the mood had shifted. A line had been crossed. And Rebecca didn't cross lines accidentally. As Greg handed me a drink, he asked, "What's her endgame?" I looked toward Rebecca's distant house. "I don't know. But Sarah found something in county files." Angela leaned in. "Good or bad? Neither. Just strange. Because if Rebecca was pulling old county maps, she had no reason to touch. Something was brewing. And this wasn't the kind of woman who wasted effort. Whatever she wanted, she just escalated to get it. Whether she realized it or not, the next move belonged to me. But fate moved first. The last deputies were packing when the sound hit. Tires grinding on gravel. Headlights washed across the barn. 2 patrol SUVs barreled through my gate. The group fell silent. Dispatch probably told them threat was neutralized. Angela muttered. But they come heavy until they verify. The SUVs stopped. Doors opened. 2 deputies stepped out. Then Sheriff Daniels' black unit. He climbed out slowly, but I saw tension in his jaw. He'd heard the call. Armed men. Dark vehicles. Possible tactical unit. Sheriff. I said. Jake. His eyes drifted over my crew. County staff. Deputies. Then the yard. The trucks. The grill. Nothing suspicious. He exhaled. Tell me she didn't. She did. Greg called out. Daniels scrubbed his face. Where is she? Left minutes ago after accusing us of running a paramilitary camp. Before he could respond, another vehicle approached. Rebecca's SUV. She pulled in, stopping at an angle. She stepped out, clutching her clipboard. There, she said, pointing. Thank God. You need to arrest them. Daniel stared at her for a long second. Ma'am, he said flatly. You called 911 on my department. She blinked. No. I called because I saw armed individuals. They looked threatening. You saw off-duty deputies and county personnel on private land. He corrected, and reported them as criminals. That's not sheriff. You need to understand. The HOA has defined standards for gatherings. She jabbed the clipboard at me, violated several clauses. Rebecca, I said, I'm not in your HOA. She stiffened. It borders us. That means your activities affect safety. Daniels' head turned. Ma'am, do you know who owns this ranch? A tremor worked up her throat. I don't see how that matters. It matters. Daniels said, because this land belongs to Jake Brennan, registered as certified engineer and emergency coordinator. His gatherings are legal. His guests are law enforcement. And every officer you accused outranks your HOA. Her mouth opened, closed. Then her knees dipped. Sheriff. She swallowed. I thought I was protecting the neighborhood. Misusing 911. He said, does the opposite. Her face flushed. This is not over. She whispered, correct. I said, it isn't, because now I knew something deeper was driving her. People don't tear at legality's edges unless hiding something worse. Daniels issued her a formal warning and told her plainly, you are not to set foot on this property again. When she left slower, shaking, I caught something unexpected. Fear. She wasn't just angry. She was afraid of something bigger. Daniels turned. Jake. Whatever she thinks she's doing, it's not about bylaws anymore. I know. Keep records straight. Keep cameras running. Talk to Sarah. Something's brewing. I already did. She's coming at dawn. Good. This is about to blow open. Daniels left. Guests dispersed. But the atmosphere had changed. Lines had shifted. And somewhere out there, Rebecca was holding something dangerous enough to make her risk humiliation. I stood in the dark yard listening to insects along the lake and staring at the empty road. HOA presidents don't pull county maps unless they're planning something. And if she wanted a war built on paper and statutes, she was about to get one. The kind she couldn't win. But the next morning cracked with something unexpected. A rare quiet. The kind before pressure gives way. I stepped onto the porch with coffee when tires rolled up slowly. Raymond Martinez's old truck. Raymond wasn't the type who wasted fuel on casual visits. He stepped out, lifted his hat, and got straight to it. Jake, you got a minute? Always. He leaned against my railing, eyes scanning the pasture like checking for eavesdroppers. Heard what happened? Whole valley's talking. HOA president calling 911 on deputies. That ain't just bold. That's desperate. Desperate for what? He hesitated. Rebecca wasn't always this way. Before she took that HOA job, she kept to herself. But after her husband passed, something snapped. She got quieter, then controlling, then obsessed. With rules, no. Raymond said, with boundaries. The word hung there like a warning. Before I could press, my phone buzzed. Sarah, I'm 5 minutes out. Don't start without me. Raymond raised a brow. Your lawyer coming for breakfast? More like post-fire inspection. He nodded, pushed off the railing, and headed back. Jake! Listen, whatever that woman's stirring, it ain't small. And it ain't about goats or barn colors. I watched him leave, and for the first time since the 911 stunt, a weight settled across my shoulders. Not fear, recognition. Something systemic was brewing. Sarah arrived moments later without knocking. Just marched up with 2 manila folders. We need to talk, she said. Coffee, no. Evidence. She set folders on my table and opened the first. Inside were land surveys, parcel, sketches, and highlighted boundary overlays. This, she said, tapping the top sheet, is your official survey from when you bought the ranch. Clean, legal. Then she opened the second. And this is what the HOA submitted yesterday to county zoning. I scanned it and froze. My eastern boundary was shifted inward by nearly 20 yards. A strip of land, including part of the creek feeding my lake, had been reclassified as community resource allocation. HOA-controlled watershed, a designation they had no authority to file. Sarah, tell me this is a mistake. It's not. The HOA filed this under watershed management adjustment, which doesn't exist in Montana code. They invented a term hoping nobody would question it. Why didn't county flag it? Because Rebecca filed it under preliminary status that doesn't require immediate review. My jaw locked. Sarah folded her arms. She's not trying to take your barn. Jake, she's trying to take your water rights. Montana water rights weren't small. They were power. Control the water? You control everything. She thinks if she controls your creek, Sarah continued, she controls lake access. And if she controls lake access, she controls development value. I finished. Which means someone bigger stands to profit. Sarah nodded. HOA presidents don't make moves like this alone. The ground shifted under me. So, the maps, that's her angle. It's step 1. Sarah said. Because if that refile passed, she could have forced you into HOA watershed bylaws. Mandatory inspections. Mandatory easements. Eventually forced land concessions. I stared at the falsified map. Understanding, slicing through months of confusion. Dust complaints. Goat noise. Mailbox violations. Barn color. All petty. All camouflage. This boundary shift was the real strike. Before we could analyze further, a sharp sound broke the tension. Mailbox hinge. Sarah tensed. Expecting company, not unless they brought donuts. We stepped off the porch. Standing by my mailbox was Rebecca, clipboard in hand. Mouth tight, but her eyes looked different. Less angry, more frantic. Miss Morgan. Sarah called out, sharp. Is there a reason you're on my client's property? Rebecca jolted. I'm verifying a report. What report? This mailbox? She said, tapping it hard. It leans 3 degrees. Enough. Sarah snapped. You filed illegal boundary adjustments. Explain that. Rebecca shut down. She hugged her clipboard and took 1 step back. Fear. I don't know what you're talking about, she whispered. Sarah pressed. Who told you to file it? It's procedural. No. Sarah said, it's felony fraud. Rebecca's breath hitched. Her face crumpled before she snapped back. I have work to do. She marched down the road. Sarah watched her go. She's in over her head. She's scared. I said. We returned to the porch. If the HOA was playing with boundary lines, they weren't just overreaching. They were scheming. And the 911 stunt wasn't random panic. It was symptom of a deeper crack. What now? Sarah stacked the maps. Now we find who benefits from moving your water line. And for the first time, I realized the HOA wasn't trying to control me. Someone behind them was trying to erase me. Last night's call was the fuse. The explosion was coming. It arrived faster than expected. I woke before dawn to a sound no rancher wants. Panic. Raw and unmistakable. My goats bleated frantically. Thunder. My Mustang slammed his stall wall hard enough to rattle buckets. Something was wrong. I grabbed boots, shoved my phone in my pocket, and ran to the stables. Gravel tore under my steps. Every instinct screamed danger. Then I saw them. 3 figures. Hooded, gloved, moving with purpose inside my barn. For half a breath, my mind tried to categorize theft sabotage. No, their movements were too strategic. They weren't wandering. They were searching. One had Thunder by the lead, trying to drag him out as he reared back. Another knelt by my storage shelves, reading labels like hunting something specific. That's what made my stomach harden. They weren't here for livestock. They were here for information. I stepped forward. Hey, get off that horse. The intruders froze. Thunder jerked, breaking free. In that split second, all 3 bolted. One through the side door, one across the pasture, one leaping the back fence with speed that told me he'd done this before. I sprinted after the nearest, but he had too much head start and vanished into trees. I stopped at the forest edge. Gone. What wasn't gone were the footprints, leading straight toward the HOA subdivision. Fresh. I called Sarah first. She answered groggy. Jake. It's barely 6. I had intruders. 3. Maybe armed. They were in my barn searching. She was fully awake. Call Daniels. I'm coming. While waiting, I returned to the barn. Nothing stolen. Tools in place. Thunder shaken but unharmed. But the shelves were disturbed. Several containers opened. My old file boxes from when I bought the ranch were targeted. One box was pulled off the shelf. Documents scattered. But none were valuable. Not to me. Not to criminals. Unless I scanned the labels. One folder had been lifted and tossed aside. Initial survey and historical records. A chill ran through me. Those maps. The same ones Sarah discovered the HOA had pulled. Could someone think I had something the county didn't? By the time Daniels arrived with deputies, I had the barn lit and perimeter taped. He walked inside. Jaw tight. Tell me everything. I laid it out. The intruders. The targeted search. Their path toward HOA boundaries. His expression shifted between anger and unease. He turned to deputies. Secure the area. Photograph every print. Check cameras. Then he faced me. Jake. This wasn't random. I know. They weren't after property. He pointed at the file box. They were after records. Which means someone thinks you have something you shouldn't. Daniels didn't deny it. Or something Rebecca lost. We stepped outside. Early light brushed the pasture. Sarah arrived minutes later. She examined the scene. Listened to deputies. Then turned to me. This escalates everything. We already knew they were playing with maps. I said, this isn't about maps anymore. She replied, this is about leverage. She crouched by the footprint trail. Jake. These aren't kids. They're organized. They didn't break random things. They went straight for your documentation. So what are they expecting to find? Either you have something you don't know, you have, she said, or they think you do. We were interrupted by a voice. Jake. Rebecca stood there. I hadn't heard her car. She looked different. Not rigid. Not furious. More like a woman who'd spent the night trying to outrun truth. What are you doing here? I asked sharply. She glanced around nervously, avoided Daniels's stare, and motioned me aside. I need to speak with you, she whispered. Sarah stepped in front. No, not after filing fraud. Not after trespassing again. Rebecca flinched, but stayed. This isn't about boundaries, she said quietly. Someone broke into my garage 2 nights ago. Daniels folded his arms. Why wasn't that reported? Because nothing was taken, she replied. But things were moved. Papers, boxes, old HOA invoices. And I pressed. She swallowed. I found a footprint identical to that one there. She pointed at a track near my pasture. Silence hit like a beam. She looked at me. Really looked. And there was something raw there. Mr. Brennan, she said. Whatever they're looking for, it isn't just on your land. They came for me first. I didn't speak. Couldn't. Because it wasn't anger I felt. It was clarity. The HOA president wasn't the architect. She was another target. They think I still have copies of certain documents, she said. Voice thin. Documents the HOA board told me to destroy. Did you? Sarah asked. Rebecca looked down. No. It was barely audible, but it cracked through every assumption. She wasn't trying to control land. She was trying to keep something buried, but someone else wanted it dug up. Daniel stepped forward. Ma'am, you need to tell us what documents. But Rebecca's eyes darted toward the houses in the distance. I can't, she whispered. Not yet. Why? Sarah demanded. Rebecca's answer was simple. Because if I say it out loud, I'm not sure I'll live long enough to finish. The barn, the boxes, the intruders, everything tightened into truth. The break-in wasn't a warning. It was a search. And now we knew one thing. Whatever they wanted wasn't on my land. It was inside Rebecca's head. And someone was willing to tear through everything I owned to get to it. For the first time, Rebecca looked less like an HOA president and more like someone on a cliff's edge, aware the ground was crumbling. Daniels read her the same way. His tone shifted. Miss Morgan, if someone's chasing documents you kept, We need to know. You're not safe, and you're dragging Carter into danger." Rebecca winced. "I didn't destroy every invoice Douglas Hartman made me process. The developer..." The name tightened the air. "That's who this is about?" Sarah asked. Hartman, Rebecca nodded. "And the board. And the survey team he hired. And the people he paid to look away. They all said the same thing. Get rid of the paper trail. But I kept pieces." Why her voice cracked? "Because I didn't trust them. And I didn't trust myself." Daniels pulled out his radio. "Where are these documents gone?" she said. "As in, you hid them? As in, someone broke in and left with the binder where I kept everything?" Cold reality tightened around us. "So, the break-in at your place came first?" I said. "Then they came here looking for backup." Rebecca nodded. "I didn't know they'd think you had anything." And suddenly the scattered box made sense. Sarah exhaled. "Rebecca, what was in that binder?" She hesitated. "Fake surveys, payment schedules, altered maps, contracts between the HOA and shell companies Douglas set up, board approvals stamped without votes." Her shoulders sagged. "And the attempted redraw of property lines near Jake's Lake access. It clicked so hard I felt my pulse jump." "My water rights." Rebecca nodded. "Hartman wanted leverage. He needed the HOA to show his development wouldn't affect environment. So changing your lake access on paper made his case easier. He needed a spotless record. And you helped him build it." Sarah said flatly. Rebecca didn't argue. She closed her eyes. "I did. And when I realized how deep it went, I tried to reverse it quietly. That's when the board turned on me." Sarah finished. Rebecca nodded. "So Daniel said, 'Who else knows? You kept copies.'" Rebecca opened her mouth. Stopped. 2 seconds. Then a whisper. "Everyone who wanted them destroyed." No one spoke. The stakes had finally taken shape. This wasn't HOA pettiness. This was fraud tied to land, environment, development money, and federal permits. The kind people didn't walk away from. The kind, powerful people killed to protect. I turned to her. "Why come here today?" "Because I'm out of time," she said. "And because someone thinks you have something that can expose them, so now they're coming for you too." She looked ashamed. "I didn't mean to drag you into this. But after last night, after they searched your barn, I realized you're the only one who stood up to me and didn't look afraid. I thought you might listen. It was strange hearing vulnerability from a woman who'd once fined me for a leaning mailbox. But this wasn't about fines. This was about survival." Sarah folded her arms. "Then we're doing this my way. Protection, digital backup, legal exposure, full transparency." Sarah turned to Daniels. "She needs somewhere safe." Daniels hesitated. "This is bigger than just me." Rebecca whispered. "Much bigger than the HOA." She was right. But she was hiding something. Her eyes kept darting. Not around the barn. Not towards subdivision. But toward the ridge overlooking my property. Like she expected someone to come over that hill any minute. I stepped closer. "Rebecca, if the binder is gone, what else are they after?" She met my eyes fully. "There's another copy?" she said quietly. "Not full. Just the most damning pages. The ones proving who authorized redraws, who signed bribes, who forged county stamps." "Where is it?" Sarah demanded. Rebecca touched her chest. "Up here. I memorized them. Every page, every signature, every date. My stomach dropped. If half of what she described was true, she was the most dangerous witness in the state, and the most valuable, and the most vulnerable. Daniels pulled out his radio. She goes into protective custody tonight. Rebecca's breath hitched. They'll come. If they know I'm with law enforcement, they'll come fast. Let them. Daniels said, We'll be ready. But I wasn't as sure. Not because he couldn't protect her, but because whoever broke into my barn moved like professionals. Before Daniels could say more, Deputy Martinez jogged up. Sheriff. Prince go back to the HOA fence line. 2 sets head toward Hartman's old survey trailer. One breaks toward the service road. Daniels nodded grimly. Then we're out of time. He looked at me. Jake, she stays on your property until we move her. Guest cabin. Cameras on. We'll rotate deputies. I didn't hesitate. My land had become a battlefield, and now the most dangerous witness would sleep 200 feet from my door. Rebecca stood beside me, shoulders tight. Confidence cracked through, and that's when it hit me. She wasn't here to confess. She was here to survive. And tonight, every person hunting her would learn exactly where she was hiding. Daniels didn't waste time. Deputies swept the ridge, checked cameras, secured the guest cabin. 1 room, 1 door, 1 reinforced window. Not a bunker, but defendable. Close enough to my house, I could reach it in seconds if things went wrong. And they were going to... Everything in my gut screamed it. Rebecca followed me up the gravel path. Arms wrapped around herself. Not from cold, from fear she didn't want seen. Inside, Martinez was setting up her station. Ma'am, she said, sheriff's orders. You don't leave unless escorted. You don't open the door. You don't answer your phone unless it's us. Rebecca nodded. While they settled her, Daniels pulled me aside. We got a hit on Hartman's accounts. Sarah discovered 3 survey payments tied to a shell company registered under the HOA Improvement Fund, meaning this wasn't just bad paperwork. This was coordinated. Money laundering, falsified boundaries, environmental violations. Enough to put Hartman and associates behind bars for years. And the intruders. Hired professionals. Someone paid them to track down the ledger and destroy it. The ledger Rebecca backed up in her head. I said, Daniels nodded grimly. Which makes her the most dangerous witness and most expendable from their perspective. He hesitated. They will try to eliminate her. Jake. Tonight, a chill ran under my skin. Not for myself. For the woman hiding in my cabin who'd made my life hell, yet now stood between a criminal empire and collapse. Sarah arrived with her laptop and a folder. I found something, she said. Not about Hartman, about the HOA structure. Daniels crossed his arms. Go on. She spread documents across my pickup hood. Rebecca wasn't lying. The HOA did attempt to refile boundaries around your lake. During annual review, buried under 300 pages of updates, nobody reads. How close did it get? Close enough 2 board members signed before it was pulled. Pulled by who? Sarah tapped a name in yellow. By Rebecca. The same night, she kept those invoices. So her guilt wasn't just participating, it was stopping it too late. Before we could dig further, Martinez's voice crackled. Sheriff, you'll want to hear this. We checked Hartman's abandoned trailer. Found prints. Recent. And meals. Takeout, still warm. How recent? An hour. Maybe less. My jaw locked. They weren't gone. They were relocating. Getting closer. We also found this. Martinez added, Sheriff. They had a map of Carter's ranch with a route marked to the guest cabin. Every muscle locked. They weren't searching. They were hunting. Get everyone off that ridge. Daniels ordered. Regroup at North Fence. Do not engage unless fired upon. He lowered the radio and turned to me. Jake. They know exactly where she is. Sarah. Cursed. We don't have time. We need leverage. Something that forces Hartman's people to back off. Leverage like what a document, she said. Or recording. Something tying Hartman to fake surveys directly. Without that, he's just a contractor with bad paperwork. She said she memorized everything. Yes, but memory doesn't indict. Sarah replied, We need physical documentation. Silence. Then, Rebecca's voice. I know where one copy might exist. We turned. She'd stepped outside. It's not full, but I left something with someone I trusted years ago. A backup. Who Rebecca stared at ground. Raymond Martinez. I blinked. Your neighbor? She shook her head. My friend. And Douglas Hartman's estranged brother. That twisted everything. And you think he still has it? She nodded. Raymond wanted nothing to do with development schemes. He hated everything Douglas touched. He said if I needed help, he had my back. Daniels looked at me. Where does Raymond live? 1 mile east. Across Service Road. That's too close to risk tonight. We'll send a deputy. No. Rebecca said, Douglas's people know every badge. They'll see police coming miles away. She looked at me. Jake should go. You want me to walk into a family feud and collect evidence? You're the only one they wouldn't expect? She said, and Raymond trusts you. She wasn't wrong. Raymond and I didn't always agree. But he wasn't the type to turn from corruption, even against blood. Daniels didn't like it. But after seconds of calculation, he nodded. Fine. But you take Martinez and move fast. If that ledger exists, it's the only thing standing between us and open conflict. I took a breath. Rebecca, if we get this, and it's what you think, you understand what happens next. She looked at the cabin, then back at me. I know, she whispered. It means this ends. One way or another. I grabbed my jacket. Martinez jogged behind, checking her radio and loading rounds. As I opened the door, I glanced back at the ridge. Shadows seemed thicker, watching, waiting. If the intruders found out we were hunting the last evidence piece, they wouldn't wait for nightfall. They'd strike long before. Rebecca had lit the fuse weeks ago. Tonight, the fire was climbing fast, and somewhere east of my property, Raymond held the one piece that could bring everything crashing down or get us all killed. I started the engine. Hang on, Martinez muttered. This just turned into a war over paperwork. She wasn't wrong. Paper was evidence. Paper was proof. Paper told truth. Guilty people would kill to hide. By the time Martinez and I returned from Raymond's with confirmation he'd mailed documents back to Rebecca years ago, we were already behind. Too far behind. Because the hunters hadn't waited, Daniels met us halfway. "They're here," he said. "East Field. 3 armed suspects approaching the cabin." My chest tightened. "Rebecca. Martinez is with her," he said. "But they smashed the window. They're trying to force entry." Everything moved fast. Deputies sprinted. Daniels signaled lockdown, and I ran. The cabin came into view in flashes. Lamps knocked over. Curtain ripped. Martinez shouting through the cracked window. I hit the fence at full sprint. Carter. Wait, Daniels barked. Didn't matter. Rebecca was on my land. If someone wanted her, they'd go through me. As I closed distance, shadows moved. 3 figures in dark clothing with reflective tape. Not amateurs. Professionals. One stood lookout. One worked the window with a pry bar. The third held something heavy. A cutting tool. They were escalating to extraction. I dropped low, slowing my breathing. The cabin had narrow trees on one side and open pasture on the other. Not enough cover. They were too close. I reached into my jacket and tapped the emergency app Sarah installed last year. The system controlling my ranch's emergency lighting. I hit the trigger. Suddenly, the cabin exploded in blinding white. Industrial floods roared to life. So bright, the suspects staggered back. Hands shielding faces. Before they recovered, Daniels burst from the ridge with 2 deputies. Sheriff's Department. His voice cracked through the night. Drop tools and lie face down. The lookout bolted. "Greg." "Left," I shouted. Deputy Anderson peeled off in pursuit. The second swung toward light, but ran into Martinez, kicking the door open. She grabbed his shoulder, yanked him down, pinned him. The third, bigger, faster, charged toward shadows. I lunged after him. He cut right, slipping through a gap between the trough and fence. I closed distance. "Stop," I yelled. He didn't. He'd almost cleared when he stepped on spilled grain. His feet went out. I threw my weight forward and tackled him into grass. He fought, twisting, elbows jabbing, trying to reach his pocket. Not a weapon. Something metallic. Small. I grabbed his wrist and slammed it down. "No," I said through clenched teeth. "Not tonight." Deputies swarmed, cuffing him and hauling him up. Martinez emerged with Rebecca behind her. Rebecca's face was pale, but she was standing. They knew where she was. Martinez said. Came straight to her room. Rebecca swallowed. They just kept saying, "Give us the file." Didn't even look at me. Just repeated it. Daniels stepped closer. Carter. Martinez. Inside now. "We need statements." We filed into the cabin. Glass littered the floor. Rebecca's notes scattered. Martinez had moved her to back corner, barricading the door. "Rebecca," Daniels said, "they risked federal charges. They weren't sent to scare. They were sent to retrieve something." Her eyes flicked to the window. "Then me. The ledger. You said it was gone." Sarah reminded over phone. "It was," Rebecca said, "but I kept something else. Not the full file. Just 3 pages. The ones that mattered most, proving who authorized redraws, who signed bribes, who forged stamps." "Where is it?" Daniels asked. Rebecca held up trembling hands. "Up here." I memorized them. Every page. Every signature. Every date. Anderson blinked. "That clipboard?" She nodded. It was in my car. I brought it without thinking. A folder of falsified surveys, forged approvals, proof of bribes, tucked inside a clipboard she'd carried every day for a decade. Sarah spoke firmly. Sheriff, those documents are enough to implicate Hartman and the board in serious federal crimes. No wonder they came with professionals. Martinez muttered. Rebecca sat on the bed, covering her face. I never wanted this. I was trying to fix what I broke. But they're willing to destroy anyone who threatens the money. I looked at the broken window, torn curtain, blood on grass outside. They won't get another chance. Daniels said, Not tonight. Not ever. He turned to me. Jake, you're moving her to the main house. Too many entry points here. Martinez stays with her. Anderson posts on Ridge with night optics. I'll dispatch for federal backup. And the documentation. We retrieve it now. We stepped outside. Deputies were loading intruders into cruisers. None spoke. None asked questions. None looked toward Rebecca. They weren't loyal. They were hired and afraid of someone else. Rebecca walked beside me to her car. I didn't know who to trust. She said quietly, Not after the board turned. Not after Douglas threatened me. Why trust me? She hesitated. Because last night when I collapsed, you didn't gloat. You helped me stand. She swallowed. And I thought, if I'm going to burn for what I know, at least someone decent should hold the truth. She unlocked the door, reached under the seat, pulled out her clipboard. The gold star was scratched, edges worn. When she peeled back the lining, a sealed envelope slipped out. She handed it to me. This is what they're willing to kill for. I didn't open it, because suddenly a distant engine drifted across the ridge. Not sheriff, not deputy, a stranger, coming slow, steady, toward us. Daniels stepped forward. Everyone inside, he ordered. Now, the night wasn't over. It was beginning, and whatever was coming down that road was bringing the final confrontation, the one that would either expose everything or bury us under lies too powerful to fight. The empire was cracking, but it hadn't collapsed. Not until we survived the night. Not until we got Rebecca's testimony into the right hands. Not until Douglas Hartman faced justice. The war was beginning, and we were out of time. Daniels signaled deputies to secure perimeter as the unfamiliar engine drew closer. I tucked the envelope inside my jacket. I didn't know what it contained, but every instinct told me it was heavy enough to topple careers and put people behind bars. The headlights cut across the ridge, sweeping like the driver was surveying land, testing response times, counting vehicles, checking escape routes. When the engine finally turned away and disappeared, Daniels exhaled. They're probing, measuring us. Sarah's voice came through phone. That means they're planning something bigger. I tightened my grip on the envelope. Then we move first. Inside my house. Deputies fortified the floor. Martinez stayed with Rebecca. Rebecca kept staring at the envelope like a lit fuse. Daniels nodded for me to open it. I didn't hesitate. Inside was a flash drive wrapped in an HOA memo. Sarah held her breath on speaker. Plug it in. I inserted the drive. A folder appeared. Project Perimeter Improvement Audit. Access protected. 4 files. Rebecca whispered. That's the fake title. I typed her password. The folder unlocked. 4 PDFs loaded. Simple. Almost boring. But when I opened the first, the room changed. Daniels leaned in. Anderson swore. Fake survey stamps. Forged signatures. Payment vouchers tracing to Hartman's shell companies. The second file was worse. A boundary redraw authorization signed using the stolen county seal. Sarah spoke sharply. That's multiple felonies. The third showed a transcript discussing how to soften Carter's influence on lake rights through pressure. My jaw tightened. Then the fourth file. A ledger. Brief, but devastating. Listing transfers between Hartman, the HOA treasurer, and a PAC funding development approvals. There it was. The motive. The money. The bribery trail. Rebecca's voice shook. I kept the worst. I knew if I showed it, I'd be destroyed. Douglas said as much. Sarah's tone sharpened. Sheriff, with this, you can bring in federal investigators tonight. Daniels nodded. I'll submit it. But if Hartman's people know we have it, they won't sit idle. Then the radio crackled. Sheriff, you need to come outside. Something's happening. We followed Daniels. 3 vehicles were parked at my driveway's end. Federal, unmarked. Agents stepped out. Badges glinting. Daniels exchanged words, then gestured our way. They approached. Mr. Brennan. The lead agent said, we were forwarded evidence from your attorney. We're initiating multi-agency action tonight. Tonight, yes. Douglas Hartman is being taken into custody now. The words hit like fire. Rebecca's knees buckled. Martinez steadied her. Ma'am, the agent continued, we'll need a formal statement. In return, we provide protective relocation. Rebecca blinked. Witness protection modified. Yes. Her breath left shaky. I didn't think it would go this far. It already did. I said. The agents moved efficiently, coordinating, securing the drive, distributing orders. They left fast, heading to apprehend Hartman and anyone implicated. For a moment, it felt like the climax passed. But Daniels didn't relax. He stepped beside me. Jake, someone took a photo of you. Surveillance delivered anonymously to the office this afternoon. He pulled an envelope. Inside was a print. Me and Rebecca near my stables. Both unaware. Both vulnerable. Not threatening. A message. They're watching, Daniels said. Rebecca hugged her arms. Douglas didn't send that. Anderson frowned. Because he knew she was here. Daniels nodded. Which means someone higher is invested. Sarah's voice returned. Sheriff, get that photo analyzed. If they're tracking Carter or Rebecca, we need to know how. I stared at the image. Edges creased. It wasn't sloppy. It was deliberate. Measured? Like marking targets. We'll get answers. Daniels promised. But tonight, we secure everyone. No one leaves. Complete lockdown. Rebecca took a slow breath. Do you think this ends with Hartman? Daniels shook his head. It never ends with the first arrest. She looked at me. Jake? I'm sorry. I never meant for your ranch to become the center of this. I shook my head. You didn't bring it. You exposed what was coming. A deputy jogged up. Sheriff, we found something on the fence line. We followed. Hanging from a post was torn tactical fabric. A sleeve. Below, boot prints leading toward woods. Daniels knelt. He was standing here watching. The SUV guy. Or someone different. Everyone inside. Daniels ordered. Lockdown until sunrise. As we walked back, Rebecca lingered. I never told you the complete truth. What truth? There's someone else. She said. Someone, Douglas, answered to. Someone the board feared more. And if he thinks I talked. Her voice trailed off. Rebecca. Who? She shook her head. If I say his name without proof, I'll be discredited. Or worse, we need more evidence fast. I stared toward the ridge where the watcher had stood. Hartman's arrest wasn't the end. It was the opening move, and at the center stood a rancher, an HOA president, a lawyer, and a sheriff against something bigger than land disputes. The empire had cracked, but it hadn't collapsed. Not until we found the man at the top. Morning arrived with 3 federal SUVs tearing down my driveway. Daniels met them. Evidence already packaged. Hartman arrested hours earlier from a condo. But the agent's words froze satisfaction. Hartman isn't talking, the agent said, but his phone shows dozens of calls to a contact saved as architect. Same number, tied to donations, zoning approvals, and multiple HOA boards statewide. Architect. Martinez repeated, who names someone that A. Man who designs corruption, the agent said. Rebecca stiffened. Her eyes went distant. I know who it is, she whispered. I didn't want to admit it. I thought if Douglas fell, maybe that was enough. But the architect runs everything. The agent turned. Name. Gerald Thompson, she said. State Development Consultant. Former HOA Administrator. He wrote half the improvement policies in Montana. Every board looks to him for guidance, including ours. The agent didn't hide his reaction. This is bigger than expected. That was understatement. Thompson wasn't just a consultant. He was the man who trained HOAs how to skirt accountability. He knew environmental laws inside out, how to bend them without appearing to break them. If he orchestrated the redraw of my lake lines, this wasn't isolated. This was systematic, statewide, potentially federal. Sarah joined the call via video. Reviewing Thompson's filings. Sheriff, she said, if we connect Thompson to forged seals or boundary changes, he's done. But we need direct proof beyond Douglas's ledger. Martinez glanced at Rebecca. Do you have anything tying him directly? Rebecca hesitated briefly. Yes. She walked to her clipboard. The gold star one she'd used to cite me for violations, and slid out a folded sheet tucked deep between layers. I kept this because it terrified me, she said. Thompson visited our board 5 years ago to teach compliance. He gave this as a demonstration of how to correct property lines without legal delays. She handed it to Daniels. A watermark, a seal template, instructions to bypass county protocols, and at the bottom, Thompson's signature? My anger rose sharp and focused. Thompson had taught HOAs how to break laws under the guise of efficiency, and property owners paid through land theft, false violations, and intimidation. This was the weapon we needed. The feds didn't waste seconds. Radioed warrant request, mobilized teams, coordinated with state authorities. Within an hour, they had approval. Mr. Brennan, the agent said, We may need you present for water rights confirmation. Just tell me when, Miss Morgan," he added. "We'll take your statement now. You'll be relocated immediately after." Rebecca nodded. She didn't look afraid. She looked resolved. Like a woman finally ready to walk out of ruins she'd helped build. Thompson was arrested at his lakeside office by noon. He came out in expensive suit, calm but trembling, muttering about misunderstandings. But when agents laid out evidence, his eyes went flat, empty, like he knew he'd met a wall he couldn't charm through. By afternoon, 6 HOA board members statewide were in custody, 3 county officials suspended, developers tied to Hartman Shells questioned, and the HOA over my ranch officially dissolved by state order. No more fines, no more threats, no more harassment. My land was mine again, fully, legally. Rebecca stood beside me at Lake's Edge as federal teams packed up. "I didn't think it would end like this," she said softly. "How did you expect it, with me dead or forgotten?" I shook my head. "You stepped forward when it counted. That matters. I only stepped because you gave me the chance," she said. "You did make my life hell." She smiled. "I did. But you fixed what you broke. And that's more than most try. I'm leaving tomorrow." She said, "Volunteer Center in New Mexico. They teach widows how to rebuild. I think I need that. I think you'll be good at it." She laughed. Imagine that. HOA Karen, helping people heal. Before she left, she handed me an envelope. "Don't open until I'm gone." She climbed into her RV and drove off down my gravel road, dust trailing like remnants of an old life fading. Inside the envelope was a note. "Jake, thank you for reminding me that justice isn't loud. It's steady. And sometimes dignity is the sharpest weapon. Take care of that ranch. Rebecca." Taped to it was a photograph, both of us, by the stables. Sunlight behind us. Not the threatening surveillance photo. This one Martinez took that morning. A reminder that not all watching eyes are dangerous. As I stood at my gate that evening, wind quiet across the lake, I felt something I hadn't felt since the first HOA notice appeared. Peace. Justice had risen over my land and every lie built to steal it. Somewhere down the highway, a former HOA president was learning what freedom felt like. The empire was gone. The truth was standing. And the ranch was home again. If you've ever stood your ground against anyone trying to push you off what's yours, you know this feeling. Truth always wins. Eventually,